Hi everybody, my name is Susan Austin and I will be your English 111 teacher this semester online. And I'm so glad you're in our class, and hopefully this video will help you navigate the screen and the course better, and you'll be better acquainted with the course. So I wanted to start off by just telling you that I do realize that being in an online class can offer challenges because you're having to navigate it by yourself, and there's a lot of reading, and sometimes you could feel as if maybe there's no help out there. But I want to assure you that at JCC online classes, we take them very seriously, and we want to supply you with all the resources we can. I'm a full-time instructor at JCC, so I have office hours each week here, physically on the campus. I'm also available through email. I'll always be available to call you if you'd rather have a discussion over the phone. And we do have Skype technology if you'd like to do some sort of face-to-face meeting through Skype. So just if you ever do need help, please reach out, let me know. I check my emails several times each day. I only guarantee that I check emails once on the weekends, but I usually end up checking it a little bit more often than that. Just be aware that, just like you, I do have a family also, and sometimes on the weekends I may be with them, but that doesn't mean that I'm not here and available to help you if you need it. I just, outside of business hours, the response may be slightly delayed, but definitely I check emails throughout the day, and usually several times at night, and then several times throughout the weekend. So my goal is to always assist you, always to be here for you. I want to make your experience in this class a quality one, and I want you to communicate with me. So this video, I'm trying to communicate with you, and I'm just trying to show you a few things in the course and show you how to navigate it. So I started off on the announcements page. Every Monday, I will post an announcement, and it will show you all of the assignments that you have to complete for that week. I try to put the deadlines in bold so that maybe it's easier to see, and I would strongly suggest that you keep a paper calendar. I know a lot of us use our cell phones, and we keep the calendar there, or we keep a calendar on our computer. But it's really important when you're in an online class to be able to manage all the deadlines. And you're also expected to go into the Blackboard course multiple times throughout the week. That way that shows that you're being active with the course. And you're expected to complete the assignments. Those are the things that count as your attendance. And so if I don't see you active in the course throughout the week, I may assume that you're not attending. Another way to attend is to complete your assignments. So just make sure that you are aware of those deadlines, that you're prioritizing those deadlines. And again, I would strongly suggest that you record them on a paper calendar so that you just see them, as you're working on the course. You can probably get an inexpensive calendar at Dollar General or Dollar Tree. You can also go to Google and just type in Printable Calendar 2019, and you can just print off a couple pages, put those in your notebook, and then write down your deadlines. That's just a great way to manage your assignments and make sure you don't forget anything. It's really easy sometimes in an online class because you're not really hearing everyone talk in the traditional seated class about upcoming deadlines. And so sometimes people, if they don't get the reminder, they forget the deadline. So anyway, each week I do expect that you start with the announcement. Then, once you read through the announcement, go to the weekly assignments folder. And what I do, you'll see a couple of weeks open here because, I'm working on the course and it's loaded already. But I only make the week live to you each week. There are a couple of reasons for that. Mainly, I really don't want you to work ahead. All of the assignments for this course sort of scaffold into each other, so I want you to work on the immediate assignments, the things that I've made available. And if I have too many students working on different schedules, working ahead, it sort of disrupts the flow of the course. it also affects your attendance. So if you're working ahead, and then let's say you're going to take a week off or something, that means you've missed a week of school and attendance, because in an online class we have to see you active each week. So that's why I only make each week available in that week. So usually they're made available on a Monday. If there's a holiday or something, sometimes I'll open it up a day early or a day late, depending on the holiday or how it falls. So another thing to keep in mind, last year we did have a lot of hurricanes, and that affected some people's connectivity. A lot of people had lost electricity. Hopefully this fall we will not have any weather conditions that will affect the course. If it does, that would be something that I would address in an announcement. And I know last year we had to adjust some dates because of that. But usually everything's set on Monday. It's going to be due either on Sunday or Monday at the end of that week. If it's something that I feel like you need the extra day, sometimes I'll make the deadline for that Monday. Sometimes if it's something you've been working on for a few weeks and I feel like you've had enough time to complete it, it would be due on a Sunday. But I made those deadlines very clear in the announcements. So first, go to the announcement each week. Second, go to the weekly assignments file. All right, so I'm just going to open this week up just as an example. So here you pretty much see the same deadlines that I gave you in the announcement. It's sort of a copy and paste. And I try to do bullet points just because that way you don't have to have a lot of dense reading and you just sort of see the specific information. So then this week I supplied you with a discussion board link. We sort of have a light week this week because it's introduction time and you're doing introductions on the discussion board and you're doing a few preliminary assignments in Blackboard. So one of those preliminary assignments would be to post a picture. Since we're building a learning community here online, I want you to post your picture in your profile. As you can see just over here, there's my picture. You would go to these three little lines and you can customize your page. So make sure you put a picture up there. I don't want to see an avatar or a cartoon or anything. I want to see your picture. And I think that helps too to build a learning community so that we all see each other and it sort of has a feel of a traditional classroom. So like I said, this week's a little light. Usually in a folder you would probably see 4 or 5 sections to the week. Sometimes if you have a journal to complete, I'll link you to the journal. If there's a quiz to complete, so tomorrow I will be adding the introduction quiz for you to complete, and you would see that in this folder as well. So usually everything you need is right in this weekly folder, and it will link you to areas of the course that you need to complete those assignments. However, I also have tabs on the left-hand side, and you can access things over here. So for instance, even though I have the discussion board linked in this week's folder, you can also come over here, click on discussion board, and it will take you to the introductions. So, you know, just in case you want to use these tabs, you can. The next thing I want to go over with you is the syllabus. So I do not do an acknowledgement form. I do it electronically. We are in an online class, so I don't want you to email me any paper copies. So I'm just going to switch over to the student view here, and I'll show you what to look for after you read the syllabus. So if you notice, there's a Mark Reviewed button. Once you open up the syllabus, you're welcome to print it out, but you can also just read it on the screen. Once you've read the syllabus, know you understand it, you want to click on the Mark Reviewed button. That will give me a report of who has acknowledged the syllabus, and that counts as your acknowledgement. The other thing, the other way you acknowledge, and I want you to do it both ways, is when you take the syllabus quiz, you will have a question. It's a true-false question, very easy, and it will just say something like, true or false, I have read and understand the syllabus. And then you say true, because then that shows that you've read the syllabus and you're acknowledging that you've understood it. Some other things to look for on the syllabus page are the general policies. These are things that we've sort of pulled out instead of crowding them into the syllabus. We've sort of pinpointed these things in the general policies area of the syllabus page. And a couple of things I'll just point out. We do expect and require that you have academic integrity, and that means that you don't cheat. With an online class, it's very easy to think nobody will notice, but we can tell if you've taken a quiz or test with another student. That can be researched, and you wouldn't want to do that. Also plagiarism. We do not want you to use a paper that someone else wrote. We don't want you to copy anything from a source directly unless you've cited it. And then there's a thing called self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism means that you've taken a paper that you've written for another course and you've sent it in as an assignment for this course. So if you've written something for another course, that belongs with that course. And it doesn't mean if you took it last year, 2 years ago, or if you're taking it this semester. You cannot use an assignment twice. That is considered self-plagiarism. And it will show up with the safe assign, and it'll show what course you wrote it in. So just keep in mind that if you wrote it for another course, you cannot repeat it and just copy and paste it into this course. The other thing is we have a disability services office. If you are in high school and you have an IEP, or if you were in high school and have an IEP, you can file that, not the IEP, but the information with disability services, and they will help you through student services here at JCC. We also have 2 police officers on campus. If you're ever here, we try to have a safe environment, so there's that. And then there's some other things that probably won't apply to you as far as being in an online class. The only thing is I did mention the weather. Last year we did have some problems with electricity being out and flooded roads and all sorts of things, unfortunately, that happened with the hurricane. And hopefully we won't have to deal with that this semester. But if we do, I would post information about delays for assignments or that kind of thing. Okay. So let me get out of the student view, and I do have some information in here about me. I have a little biography or a little bit of information about myself, and then I have my office hours. You're welcome to come see me in person. I'd love to meet you in person if you're on the JCC campus. On Tuesday and Thursday, I have a little bit of a break between 2 classes in the STEAM building. That's where the engineering and math courses are mostly taught, and that's from 9:30 to 10:45. So if you're on campus, please come visit me in room B136 on those days. And then on Monday and Wednesday afternoons, I have some office hours in my actual office. I'll be glad to call you during office hours, talk to you, email you, Skype with you during office hours, or if those times don't work, we can arrange something outside of those office hours. Just let me know if you need me to talk to you at another time. So that's my contact information, and let's go over, hopefully you have done the enrollment verification quiz by now. I had posted that last Thursday. It was supposed to be done by Sunday. This is a campus-wide requirement if you take an online distance education course, and this serves as your entrance into the class. So if for some reason you have not taken that as of today, which is Tuesday, you're late with that, but you do need to take it, and that is to satisfy the distance education requirement. So make sure, if you haven't already, that you've taken the enrollment verification quiz today, so that we can have you officially on the roster for this course. Okay. Next, there's a course navigation guide. So some of you may not have taken an online class before. It could be your first college class. So the course navigation guide sort of puts a few things in categories, and you can just kind of go through and scroll through and get some basic information about the course and where to find things. So this just has brief little explanations of what each part of the course does. So I would certainly encourage you to read through that as well. Okay, moving right along. Here are your textbooks. So just a couple things. First of all, we use the Norton Field Guide for both 111 and 112 here at JCC. And so you'll be able to keep that book for English 112 if you take it. If you have the 4th edition, you'll probably be okay. I do have a 5th edition that I'm going to put into the library that you could use in the library at JCC if you have the 4th edition. This book just went into the 5th edition this semester, so I'm trying to have a little patience with students who may not have understood that it was going into a new edition. There will probably be some page differences. There might be something that was in the 4th edition that may not be in the 5th edition or vice versa. But I hope by putting something in the library, if you need it and if you can come to JCC, you could access that. Also, once we go into Inquisitive, you should be able to access these textbooks just from an e-text standpoint. But, so this did go into the 5th edition, but I know that some students still have the 4th edition. This is the Little Seagull Handbook. You do have to have that as well. We won't have as many assignments out of this book, but you need it. And this is something that I'll reference a lot for formatting for MLA in English 111 and for, grammar rules or, sort of the formatting rules for your papers. So when you are turning in a paper to me, I want you to utilize that style book to make sure everything's formatted correctly, to check grammar, check punctuation, all those things that polish your paper. Okay. You will be able to check your grades in the My Grades section. Right now you don't have any grades because we just started, but anytime you take a quiz or a test, that populates immediately. And then if you write a paper, I just want to point out that it could take up to a week to 2 weeks to get that grade back. The reason being is if you write an essay for this class, probably 75 other students have written that same essay, and I have to go through and grade all of them individually and manually, just me doing it. So keep that in mind, that it's not that I'm not wanting to grade your paper that day, but it takes a while to work through that many student papers. I also try to give you a lot of feedback, so it takes a little bit of time for me to give you proper feedback. And I want to honor what you've done and give you good feedback because I know you've worked hard on your assignments. If you ever have any questions about my feedback, please let me know. I try to mark the rubric so that you can see specifically the category and how you were graded for that. And then I also do comments in the actual paper so that you can see line by line where you can improve. If you are on the JCC campus, you can always utilize the Academic Skills Center for help, tutoring help. If you're not on the JCC campus, we have Smart Thinking, and I'll probably address that in a future video. But if you haven't used Smart Thinking before, it's an online tutoring service. So you can submit your paper and you can get feedback. And I want to say I think it's between 24 and 48 hours. So if you're going to use the online tutoring system, you would have to have your paper ready before the day it's due so that you could have time to get the feedback. With each major paper, we'll also be doing peer review. I'll put you into groups in Blackboard, and then you'll work within your group to give feedback to each other. Okay, coming up next week, you'll see an Inquisitive button here. With your textbook, a code came with it for Inquisitive. Inquisitive is an online supplemental resource. It concentrates mostly on formatting, grammar, sentence structure, punctuation. It's meant to help you get up to speed with college level expectations for grammar and writing. And it's sort of a module system where you'll do some homework and you'll answer some questions and take some quizzes based on the lesson for each part. I will give you a deadline sheet for that next week, and then you'll be able to see, how to pace that work throughout the semester. Then also next week, we will start with journals. So most weeks, I don't think it will be every week, but most weeks you'll have a journal entry. A lot of times that journal prompt will have something to do with what we're working on that week. Sometimes I may just give you sort of a free journal write where you can just write about anything you want to write about. But the journal assignments are meant to help you hone your craft with writing and to practice sort of in a low stakes way. I don't grade the journals very harshly. It's really a time for you to practice writing, and the more you write, the better you'll get. So those two things will start next week. I will also next week be opening up the course resources, and in these sections it will be things like smart thinking, links to the library, and links to other services that will help you complete your assignments well. So that's pretty much it. A couple other things. I want you to only use your JCC email. This is not my personal rule. This is a campus-wide rule, and that's because the IT department wants us to only use the student IDs. If you are still in high school and you're a CCP student, you need to use your JCC email and not your public Johnston County Public School email. You should never use a personal email. A lot of times our system will put personal emails into spam. I'm not even supposed to open them if I see them. So if you're choosing to use something other than your JCC email, you are putting our communication at jeopardy, because I may not see the email, or I'm prohibited from opening it, so I wouldn't be able to see the context of the email to help you. So you want to use your JCC email only to communicate with me. The other thing is, as we begin writing our essays for this class and working on writing projects, I do always load in some sample papers, and I'll put in A papers. Students have made an A on these assignments, and they sort of work as an example for what you want to do to make the best grade. If you make an A or better on your papers, a lot of times I'll ask you for a sample. If I use one of your samples, you get 5 points extra credit. So that's a little bit of an incentive to do really well on your assignments. And if I want to use it as a sample, I will email you and request that. So each week I'll try to do a video most weeks, and I look forward to working with you, and thank you for taking my class. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to email me. I'll see you next week.